Well, hello folks, it's Peter Elgar from Brentwood, Essex, England. Long time no see. The reason was I've been very ill before Christmas and after Christmas, all through the New Year. I spent New Year's Eve in Basildon Hospital. So I'm looking a bit tired and that. At least I've had a haircut, so I look dreadful. I'm 85, but I looked 105 because I had a beard. I hadn't shaved for 2 weeks. My hair was all down here. I looked dreadful. And I hadn't eaten for 4 days. I've lost 7 kilos in weight. And I was taken with vomiting and my rectal cancer stoma problems. Oh dear. Anyway, I had loads of tests. And my kidney function is back to basic at the moment. So they've discharged me, but I've got to be very careful with my kidney function. But so there we are. That's why I haven't been around for a long time. Been too blinking ill. But I thought to myself, well, I'll show you what I did before I was ill. I went to Kew Gardens in West London near Richmond on a coach trip for their Christmas lights. And it's a very difficult situation, so I thought maybe I'll share my findings with you. Now, I did it all on digital. I did it on my 2005 8 megapixel Olympus E500 4/3 digital camera. And I just do that one lens. It's a 2.8 14 to 54 millimeter focal length. Quite good sharp lens, but what I had to do was assess the situation very carefully at each subject of the Christmas lights because of exposure compensation. So that's what I did. So I've got some on the back here. I'll show you if I can on the back. Right, there's one which I took of some Christmas lights, and the exposure compensation on that was more or less normal because the bright light fills quite a lot of the frame. So what you've got to think about if you're going to use exposure compensation is how much of the frame does it occupy. So we'll see what else we can show you here, and I'll show you some prints. Oh, that's my boy's graduation. 1 minute. Now there, little dots, you see, look. Those little dots can easily burn out because there's a great deal of black. So therefore you use minus exposure compensation to get the little dots. That's a bit brighter. And then that one in with the helter-skelter, that was quite good because it occupied a good percentage of the frame, and I could use no exposure compensation on that. That one, you see, I used a little bit of flash, weak flash plus a slow shutter speed. When you got bits like that, you need minus exposure compensation. These are the fountains. When it filled the frame, you don't have to give any exposure compensation. But a tree like that was surrounded by a lot of black. I did give a bit of minus compensation so the tree didn't burn out. They were all raw files. I printed some here. Let's show you what I did. Now, there's one where you've got quite a lot of black and the lights of the trees were fairly dim. So therefore I used -2 stops exposure compensation on that one, and it came out smashing. These are raw files as well. I converted the raw files to JPEG using Photoshop CC 2015 edition. And this one, you see, you got bright light on the side and you've got a fairly dim light at the side which illuminated, but the percentage of dark is quite a lot. So therefore I used minus exposure compensation on that one so that all the detail didn't burn out. Otherwise, the percentage of black compared with the percentage of light areas would overexpose that and burn it out. So even on raw. Now here's a good one. You've got all the fountains illuminated with Kew Gardens, the famous main hothouse of Kew Gardens in the background. That was no compensation at all because it occupied quite a lot of the frame. These were on a tripod, by the way. I lugged a tripod in the Kew Gardens, and I rated the ISO at 800, and I used raw files, and even with that 2005 8 megapixel camera, I didn't see any digital noise business. No, it was amazing. Here's another one with the fountains and bright light. When I timed it to catch the lights, like laser beams, that was brilliant. So it didn't need any compensation. And then there was illuminations to do with the 12 days of Christmas. So I did some. I switched to tungsten light, because with the Christmas lights I used automatic white balance, and if there's a lot of tungsten light, I use tungsten light balance. But this one, the eight maids are leaping, or 8 maids or whatever they were doing, that was tungsten lit. So I switched to tungsten light, and here I did a spot reading off of the centre there. I remember I switched to my spot, and I pointed the spot there, and I got a reading off of that. It came out smashing with no exposure compensation at all. So that's no flash. That is illuminated by the tungsten lights at 8 maids of milking or something that was called. So on the back of my camera here, take my glasses off so I can see what I'm doing. You've got a choice of spot reading and manual reading. I forget where it is now. I said it's a spot anyway. It came out all right. So I didn't use film. I used my digital. And this little button, that little button, is the press that for exposure compensation. So we'll switch it on a minute. Switch it on. Oh, I took a picture. What a waste. I took a picture of the flipping curtains. We'll press this. Oh, here we are. I'll press it. Look, there's the exposure compensation. Little bar. It's difficult to show it here. Oh, there we are, with a little green setting that's on 0. And then you turn the little wheel and you get minus and you get plus. That's your exposure compensation dial. There. Because it's very difficult to get these Christmas lights, but I managed to get very good exposure, and I didn't have to use hardly any processing compensation at all. So that was a little quick outing I had to Kew Garden, where I got some successful shots, and I hope I've just shared them with you. And when I'm feeling a bit better, I may be able to do some more stuff. In the meantime, let's switch it off. I wish you all Happy New Year, and hope I'm better next time I see you. Okay folks, bye bye for now.